we think about substituting players and managing players, and it goes on and on and on and on. And so, to your point, the last question in your post, what's your edge, right? If you are an AEC firm, an architecture firm, an engineering firm that says that you're innovative because you're using BIM, 25-year-old BIM. I was the head of the digital transformation team when we switched from AutoCAD to Revit, when it was like Revit 1 or whatever it was, right after Autodesk purchased it. I said AutoCAD would be gone in 5 years. Apparently, I got that one wrong.
Mhm.
But if you think that's your edge, it's not, right? Everybody's participating in that edge. So what's next? What's next after Moneyball? The entire Major League Baseball and their farm systems are using Moneyball now. So what's next? That's that's why I love this example that you've used, because I think it's really, really understandable. Once you gain the edge, you have to be looking for the next edge.
And what's interesting, I mean, that's what I kind of walk through in my book, right? Is this idea that like, here's Moneyball, but a lot of this data stuff is very tangible, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
part of it, I call it the intangible, creating the intangible enterprise for a reason, right? I didn't say create the data-driven enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
My assumption is the data-driven enterprises, that playing field is leveled now. So
Yeah.
what's different? Like, what are you going to do different that's not data-driven
Right.
to create your edge, right? And I think that's where like that part of the brain in business, like I don't think business in corporate America has been very creative, right? Now all of a sudden, you've got to get really creative, right? You have to think very differently about this stuff. And it's interesting because, as we think about, the CEOs we talk to and the companies we talk to on any given day, the challenge to CEOs is like you can now execute on so many ideas. I mean, think about when you first started working with me. Whenever I had an idea, it was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that." Now we have a little bit larger team. We're using a lot of AI. We have a lot of really smart people that um, it's like created so much capacity for me to execute on so many ideas, right? Versus like before, I'd be like, "Hey, let's do this." Yeah, let's do that next year. We don't have time, right? But now we're just working at the speed of thought constantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
some things work, some things don't. Some things work, some things don't, and that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But and you're getting feedback so much faster. You
Right.
know, I did this project for a large beverage company in Atlanta, and they had me come in and say, "Hey, like, give us an edge. We need to be innovative." And they had this big idea. They had this really big idea that um, of creating products. So their biggest innovation, funny enough, there were two big innovations they told me about. One was that during Pride Week, they were going to have Diet Coke boxes that had rainbows on them. That was a big innovation
Okay.
because they could do on-demand printing and like they could get it out in time, right? I'm like, okay,
Sure.
that's interesting. The second one was the little mini cans, the little 4-pack
Mm.
mini cans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are like very high margin. And they're also there's a reason why they're at the front of the checkout register because maybe you don't keep their beverages in your house all the time because they're very high in sugar and the cause of diabetes and globally. Um, that you might impulse purchase a 4-pack of mini cans to have for dinner, like, "Oh, we're getting pizza tonight, let me get that," versus getting the case or the 6-pack or whatever that sits around the house. Highest margin business that they have, right? Something like that. But I told them, like, "The problem you guys have is your brand is so strong. So you could can cat piss." It's literally what I told them. I'm very popular with things like that. You could can cat piss. You would sell $100 million of it before people figured it out, right? Because the brand, these sales channels, all of it, all of a sudden it's on the end cap at Walmart. Like a failure is $100 million business because you can cat piss and make $100 million, right? And so the thing is, they don't get great feedback loop because it takes time. It took too much time, right? So before you know it's a failure, you've already sold $100 million, and maybe you're making decisions around that being, but it hits 100 million and then goes back down. But the world that most of us live in, we get feedback pretty quickly. And we can adjust very quickly. That's why, like, culturally, you know, I've been working on, and I'll be publishing our core values, which will be interesting to see who quits. But one of the things that we start to realize around like how we operate is we don't change. People are like, oh, we always change our mind. Why do we keep changing our mind? I was like, because we get feedback,
Yeah.
not because like, yes, I have ADHD. We've already determined I have ADHD, but I'm high functioning ADHD. So there's that. And if you ever want to talk to me about that stuff, like it's been a 25-year breakthrough for me. It's taken a lot. Everything from diet to caffeine and meditation, like all this stuff. Always have fun talking about that stuff. However, we change. We're always changing our mind, not because we're just chaos monkeys here. It's because we listen to customers, right? It's because we actually listen. And I think that's like one of those things that us as a team, I mean, like we teach customer discovery. We eat our own dog food on that stuff.
Yeah.
We've never said this is the way we've always done it. I was actually looking back. I don't know if you know this. We've had 3 unicorns present at Summit over the years. Anduril, OneTrust, Greenlight.
Hmm.
And this was when they were nothing. Anduril was a 4-person company. Now they're on 60 Minutes, right? They're multi-billion dollar, right? So go check out our YouTube channel. You can actually find all the videos of these things from previous summits. And so people are like, oh, well, so you have speakers? I'm like, we don't do speakers anymore. And people are like, what? Like, why do you change the format for Summit every year, KP? I'm like, because we talk to people.
Hmm.
People are tired of sitting there watching people on stage talk about nonsense. Have a couple speakers that are going to expand or blow our minds. And then the rest of it, let's have discussions. Let's talk about specific things, right? So we constantly are, but does that mean we changed our mind?
We
How has
iterate.
Summit changed even since you've been here? How has Summit changed?
Oh, it's different every year.
Right.
It has been, yeah.
Because I have
It's based
ADHD?
on no, it's based on feedback. I mean, and I know at times I will create friction in the organization because I have a very direct feedback loop through our incubator, through our mastermind groups, et cetera. And sometimes I'll say, hey, this is direct feedback that I've received through those channels, right? And
Right.
and we respond to those things.
Right. And I listen to you, right? Because one of the things you
Hmm.
said is, hey, we're tired of just talking all the time. Can
Hmm.
we
Yeah,
can we start solving problems?
right.
And what did I come up with?
We've got some activities.
Some activities, right? So I'm in Slack going, yeah, Jeff,
Yeah,
like I don't have to believe you. In many ways,
right.
you're just a messenger. I don't care about what you think.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
I want to know what the customer thinks,
Hmm.
right? And when you're like, hey, here's some of the feedback, I'm like, great, let's change things, right? Let's change it up. But I think culturally in our organization, that has to be viewed as positive, not like, oh my
Right.
God, what are we doing? We're
Yeah, yeah,
doing
yeah,
it different?
yeah.
Like, no, we're not doing it.
But
Yes, we're doing it different.
yeah, I am curious what their feedback about Mellow Yellow was, though. Oh, that's a different product.
Oh my God. I will tell you this. What I learned is that apparently their zero brands are all targeted at males because real men, burly men, don't drink diet drinks,
Okay.
but they will drink a zero drink.
Okay.
Isn't that what? No, but it's
I,
real. They have
I
all the data
guess.
and facts, right?
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never somehow like. only women drink diet drinks and big burly men drink
Mm.
zero drinks?
Well, that's why they're big and burly.
They're big and burly and probably are diabetic because they've been drinking
Exactly.
non-zero drinks for a
I was
while.
wondering if is that a synonym? Is oh boy.
By the way, you know
We've
that same company?
yeah.
Yeah, I find this fascinating, right? They're the largest cold chain provider in places like Africa because you have vehicles going out and delivering their
Sure.
beverages cold. They
Yeah.
can also put things like insulin
Hmm.
in their
Oh
supply chain
God.
and get medical stuff. I'm like,
How
oh my
ironic
God,
is that?
circular economy.
Jesus. It
You need our beverage or you need the insulin? Which one do you need? I got both.
yeah. Speaking of trends, we've spent the past two episodes making sure it's impossible for our sponsorship team to find anything.
Any sponsors? Poor Ian, right? Like let me cross another sponsor off the list. KP just talked trash about him. Great. But you know what though?
Sorry.
One of uh, our potential sponsors that I was kind of giving a hard time last episode, they listen to the pod. All these folks listen to the pod. And they send me nice little notes. They're like, I can't endorse what you said. However, it was funny.
Well, at least we've got that.
And I'm like, okay, like as long as I made you laugh, like I don't care.
Welcome to the comedy hour.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here. Don't forget to tip your server.
Yeah. However,
Well, maybe
poor
that's
Ian.
our edge.
That's going to be the takeaway for all these. It's like poor Ian.
Yeah.
And cross
Well,
another one off the list.
yeah, we're making it harder and harder. We're was it innovation is the or no how's that quote go? Innovation is the mother. What's the mother of all innovation? I forget the quote now.
Necessity.
Necessity. The we're we're changing the necessity, making it harder.
Let me tell you something. We're on this whole Moneyball thing, right? I was
Yeah.
talking to a guy today down in Palo Alto who works for a big real estate company, and he's created something, right? He's created something on his own, and he's like, kind of a Moneyball type deal, right?
Okay.
And he's like, I have created this thing, and I looked at trying to sell it to the industry. And then I said, forget about that. I'm going to use it as a weapon to take down the industry. And I think
Hmm.
that's the thing that our industry has to understand. It's no longer this technology, adopt that technology. The technology companies are figuring it out pretty quickly that they can be like, if you're not going to adopt the latest thing, they'll just go take your customer, right? They'll just go do it
Yeah.
themselves, right? So I don't need to sell software to architecture firms. I'm just going to be an architecture firm. So what's starting to see is, I mean, I think it's a very interesting trend. What
Hmm.
the industry is getting from all these startups a lot of times is actually mediocrity.
Hmm.
The really good stuff, the good,
Yeah.
they're gonna get disrupted by.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that. We're seeing that attitude more and more, I think, and I think it reminds me of a conversation we had in a mastermind group a while back, right? Here's this I'll say head of innovation, and they were asking other mastermind members in the room about adoption rates, right? They've got this great new innovative technology that they have purchased, they have access to. It can fundamentally change the way they do this, that, and the other, right? And they were complaining and asking others what kind of adoption rate and what their process was, because they're talking about 4% or 7% is a really low number. Single digit percentage of the people in their organization who are quote unquote supposed to be using this new technology
Mhm.
that they're onboarding, and they've got single digit adoption rates.
Mhm.
And and other people in the room are reflecting similar numbers, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, if you are a startup that has a software, this is what you're facing.
Yeah. So here's what's interesting, right? So a friend of mine was at the Built Worlds event,
Hmm.
um, and a CEO of a construction company was up on stage talking about some innovation rollout that they had that was very successful, right? Like that's the whole point, right? You pay to play. He paid to be up on stage to talk about all the good stuff and to talk about himself.
Hmm.
You know what, guys? You don't have to pay me to come be on stage and talk about myself. So happy to do it for free. But he basically got up there and talked about this great innovation that they deployed, and everybody's like really excited. And a friend of mine was there. He was like, it was a great case study. The thing that everyone missed was he said it took 24 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Hmm.
Like, you know, like, and of course, everybody's like cheering, right? Everybody's check clapping. They missed that one nugget.
Yeah.
24 months. It took you 24 months to deploy anything? Like, nothing should take 24 months.
Well, especially not in that arena.
No,
Right?
like,
How many new products came out in 24 months?
no, I mean, maybe in a if you're deploying SAP or Oracle Financial, some big
Mhm.
account, maybe, right? Like, maybe, right? Um, but like some niche tool product, like we gotta start thinking like minutes and hours,
Yeah.
not months.
Yeah.
24 months?
World's moving faster than that.
And by the way, here's a good test, right? When these executives talk about their CIO and they refer to them as their IT guy, that tells you everything.
It does.
That tells you everything. So, I think big takeaways from this pod, one, I think all this innovation, all this technology, I think IT departments are kinda going away. Can you tell me what IT departments do these days?
I have no idea.
They're procurement engines. Let me go
Oh, sure.
buy
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Microsoft
yeah,
Cloud.
yeah.
Let me go buy CrowdStrike. Let me manage even like the printers, right? They hire companies to do managed printing services. They basically deploy technology that's managed by others. So they're procurement vehicles. And then they're always good for a free conference to attend. They'll come attend your conferences. And come boondoggle with you, right? Go up to Napa and hang out and learn about your latest cybersecurity platform. But it's become a lot of vendor management. So I'm trying to understand, like they're not maintaining servers.
Right.
If it's a Mac, and I mean, if it's a Mac environment, they're probably doing nothing to maintain the desktops, right? If it's a Windows, it's still not that bad these days. Microsoft has their act together. So I
Yeah.
do wonder, right? When you talk about it takes 24 months to deploy something new, what it why did it happen? Or why did it take
Yeah.
24 months?
As you were talking, I was Googling because I was curious, going back to the Oakland A's and Moneyball.
Mhm.
How long did the A's have the Moneyball advantage?
Yeah, that's a
Right.
good
And
one.
so I was Googling here a little bit, and as best I can tell,
2 seasons?
maybe four.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, within a couple of seasons, almost
Yeah.
everybody started to figure out,
Yeah.
their
It
version
probably
two.
took 1 season to help people understand what a data scientist was, and then it took another year to fire all the scouts
Yeah, and
that
those
were
guys are
culturally
still there.
resisting the change.
Well, yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's one of those things too, like, everybody wants to talk about change management,
Hmm.
right? I think it's change leadership. I think that's the shift. It's not
Sure.
change management, it's change leadership. The CEOs have
Yeah.
to say, "Here's what we're doing, guys.
Hmm.
Show up, do it. Don't show up. Go do something different." Right?
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think this idea, this granularity around change management is just such a nonsense management consulting thing. It's really change leadership
yeah.
that you're really looking to do.
Interestingly, there was one of our mastermind members recently hired, or a firm represented by one of our mastermind members recently hired a dedicated change management person,
Mhm.
and they did this big search. It's an interesting story, and one of the things that they said is that it's as much change communication
Yeah,
as anything else, right? What they're doing, and you know
100%.
that ties back to a lot of
So
what we've already talked about in terms of innovation in firms.
but I think that's why, like, people might listen to this and go, "Well, KP, that's cute. Like, you don't get it. These are big organizations. I've run public companies. I know all about big organizations." Um, and I will tell you that, like, this idea that, like, things are different these days because I don't need IT. I don't need
Hmm.
IT to build an app. I don't need IT to do anything for me, right? So I don't have these weird obstacles in my way. And I was telling someone the other day, it's kind of like, when you hire a subcontractor, they show up with tools.
Yep.
I think we're more and more like, here's my set of proprietary tools to do my job. It's not the company's tools; they're my
Yeah.
tools,
Yeah.
right, for me to do my job. And so I think everybody's like, "Oh, KP, change me. You don't get it." I'm like, if that's your reaction to what I'm saying, go ahead and retire.
Well, Ian, I would cross the National Association of IT Managers off the list, and also the
They have
National
they have
Organization
no
for
they
Change
have no
Managers.
budget. They have no budget because nobody's a member anymore.
We're losing sponsors left and right.
Anybody else want to go for it?
Join us next week to see who else we alienate on KP Unpacked.
Did I tell you
So,
we're looking for sponsors? You think that this high production value this podcast have is like free? Like, what are you talking about? This stuff costs money.
it
Jeff's
does.
got like a $300 mic over there. Who pays for that? Like, what are we doing here? We need some sponsors, everybody.
And all the hamsters that are powering it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, ping Ian. He'll. Well, I think I posted about Summit. I was like, the Summit website's up. We're open and ready to take your money. That's how good I am at marketing.
There you go.
Click here. We'll take your money.
Sponsorship opportunities available.
Available. I think they're on the
And
Summit site too. You
see,
can click on them and we can take your money. We've
yeah,
e-commerce everything. You don't even have to talk to us. We don't have to talk to you. Nobody wants to talk to each other anyway. Just click on things and give us your credit card.
there you go. And in reality, what's happening is we aren't really alienating sponsors, potential sponsors. What we're actually doing, this is our version of product placement.
Yeah, that's true. That
We're
would be
learning.
funny. That's actually funny, right? If people sponsored us and all we did was trash talk their company,
Yeah.
they would probably get more brand, like a visceral brand reaction
Hmm. Yep.
than us talking good about, like, I love using Figma. I
Hmm.
love my these guys. Have you listened to TBPN, right? The Tech Bros Podcast Network. They
Yeah.
insert like they have like 100 sponsors, and they're very good at inserting
Hmm.
like without like in a very good placement ways. They're very good and they move fast. They move very fast,
Yep.
and they just like next thing you know they're telling you about Figma in the middle of a conversation, right?
Yeah.
We're like the opposite of that.
We talk
We're
about mellow yellow and cats.
Yeah, we'll talk trash about your brand, and people will walk away remembering it.
They will. They will. Did Donovan have a cat?
Yeah.
Isn't he the one that sang mellow yellow? Anyway, you you mentioned your book earlier,
Mhm.
in the conversation about Moneyball and the tie to your book. So for anybody out there that is listening to this and go, oh, what's this book? KP's latest book, which is it's a year old now.
Yeah, yeah.
How, yeah, about a year old. Creating the Intangible Enterprise is the name of the book. You can find that wherever you purchase books. It's even on Audible now, or wherever you listen to audiobooks, which is how I consume books. But that if you ever hear us talking and we mention or KP mentions his book, something like that, it's Creating the Intangible Enterprise is his latest. You can get it at Amazon. You can get it in print at whatever bookstores still exist. I forgot the last time I was at the airport to see if they had it at in the bookstores there at the airport, but probably do. You should pick it up, read it on the plane. We have been talking about KP's post on LinkedIn. Again, if you're not following him, you should, because you'll find nuggets like this. Let me read it to you again as we fade out with all of our sponsorship post roll here. Did you ever watch or read Moneyball? Great movie. I don't read much for pleasure. I don't hear much about Moneyball anymore. I've heard about torpedo bats. We should do a whole episode on torpedo bats. The thing about building an edge is that you rarely get to keep the edge. The A's did not. AI and automation is the same way. I'm sure a contractor with the first power drill must have been amazing. I'm sure a bunch of folks on the side complained. What do you do if you don't have power on the job site? Your labor will become weak from not turning screws anymore. I like that one actually. If it breaks, then what? It's too expensive and my labor will just break it. Then what? Oh, we're still making power tools for human hands, aren't we? But aren't they just end effectors for robots that are coming soon? We don't hear much about Moneyball anymore because everybody got it. Yes, everybody in the league got it. Everybody's using it. It's changed the way baseball is announced, the way it's viewed on the scoreboard, the way it's bet on. It's no longer an edge. So the question is, what's your edge? Think about that. Think about what your edge is. If it's BIM from 25 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
there's questions. Maybe. KP, this has been fun. I've enjoyed it. Thanks for
Awesome.
bringing a baseball topic this week.
Just for you. Just for you.
I appreciate that. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to all of our sponsors. We hope you enjoyed your product placement today. And we'll be back again next week with another episode of KP Unpacked. My name is Jeff Eccles. I am joined by KP Reddy, and we will place more products in next week's episode. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.